Ladies and gents, welcome back, and welcome to another fun video. This one's very interesting, and this features a player who you've heard a lot about over the last few months, Phosphoru. Only the way this pans out is a little bit different. I'll dive into that, but in this game, we've got Cello, an Argentinian player. You can see the elo at the time at the bottom right, and then Phosphoru, our player of focus, of course, here in the red. Now, the list of civilizations that Phosphoru has played is getting bigger. In terms of the strategies that he's testing, we did have a game earlier in the week where we saw the Burmese, very similarly to his strategy with the Bengalis, where he'd go for the Ratha. He goes for the Arambai. And so, he's switching it up. And that's really what I like about this player. Now, if you see this civilization, the Celts here for Phosphoru, you might immediately be thinking he's going to eat TC, as many have said with Huang, who was really like the original legend, the original all-in Arabia, don't create villagers legend, who has inspired so many. And of course, Huang's still around, but what I like about Phosphoru is how he switches up his strats. And so we've gone for the Celts here. So yeah, what you would typically be thinking then is fast castle, because that's what Phosphoru tends to do. And then lots of siege to eat the town center, as we say. Looks like Cello's having a problem here, by the way. Cello's having a problem if he didn't have a sheep underneath his TC. But since this is going to be fast castle, I'm going to fast forward as we talk through this portion. Thank you guys so much for watching. I did want to mention this month has been especially good on YouTube. It's been picking back up a bit. Viewership's always been amazing, of course. But I do want to say, if you've watched consistently this month and have been enjoying the content, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Hope everyone's doing well out there, wherever you may be. But let's get to Cello's civilization, right? Cello's civilization is the Khmer. Now, oftentimes when playing a player like Phosphoru, and he's going fast castle with an elite timing for a unit or something that's very strong, players then decide they too are going to go fast castle. We've seen that many, many times in all the Phosphoru games. So Khmer have a very unique ability, because in some of the other instances we've seen, like fast castle into monks, fast castle into unique unit. Well, Khmer, they do have a unique unit. It's a ballista elephant. I don't think we're going to see ballista elephants here, but they have a nice bonus where they can hop in and out of houses, which may be useful against Phosphoru. But the main bonus here is not needing to build buildings to go up to the next stage. So Khmer can actually go for one of the fastest castle times in the game, which actually gives you an edge over Phosphoru. Not to mention they have good economy too. If the game gets real messy, you can just kind of build farms anywhere. So, here's kind of how it goes from my perspective with Phosphoru, right? Phosphoru's online. He's playing games, and you could see what civilizations he's been playing. I'm sure there's ways for people to get a gauge. There's only so many people in that top couple hundred playing. I'm sure there's that Cello might have seen, hey, he's going for Celts, or, and that's what he's been doing this evening. Let's try and pick a counter. And so it's an interesting thought. I think it's the first time we've seen it, this Khmer pick here. So I'm kind of excited to show you how it pans out. And then there's going to be a little twist as well involved in this, which we will talk about. Now, Phosphoru is on stone right now. So this is pretty much the build that he does with all of his civilizations. He doesn't deviate too much from that. His scout is at home, not scouting his opponent, just pushing in deer. And he's going to go fast castle, and he is actually going to drop a castle here. So this is quite interesting because you don't see Woad Raiders all that frequently, and Woad Raiders do cost food and gold. And I think what makes the strategy strong for Phosphoru, even his castle placements and everything, all designed around protecting wood and gold. And on the lower economy games, it is harder to make food units. So if you look to the market on the left side, I guarantee you that's going to pop up a lot as he aims to buy some food. Cello didn't really scout for Phosphoru in Feudal Age at all. Everyone just kind of knows what's happening. And Cello kills Phosphoru's scout now. So now Phosphoru is in the dark. And that's pretty bad for him. He doesn't know exactly where Cello's going to be. And now we're going to slow the game down. So that's kind of what we're going to do, because I've got 2 games for you in this video. And I think, I think I was able to get everything I needed out of the way. Normally, sometimes I want a little bit more time to discuss. But yeah. So, what do we have from Cello? Well, Cello knows exactly where the opponent is. Has full scouting. And has been in Castle Age at what time was that? 13:16. Crazy Castle Age time. And he is sending knights forward right now. So, I mean, he knows the target. He saw the wood line was open. He saw the gold. This is the area you normally want to hit Phosphoru. He also saw Phosphoru was on stone. He was expecting that castle. And he gets here, and he sees the castle's going up already. And it just cracks me up. Because, like, even though this is becoming quite normal to see this stuff, it's still not normal. Also, hello, Lion. Lion is on Phosphoru's side. You know, Lion came out of nowhere. So anyways, he's making woads. Now, he actually has to scout with his woad raiders. And this villager here walked a little bit too far. He wanted a forward building here, Phosphoru. And he drops the siege workshop there. And he really wants to go, like, siege with this, right? As is so often the case, he'll want to go forward and add the siege. And unfortunately for him, this just comes down to not scouting, right? But the woad raider gets a kill. So the trades are going to be even. The villager will go down there. And woad raider also gets to kind of see what's out there. So Phosphoru, excuse me, has seen monk. He's seen knight, which honestly is just perfect. It feels very good against the woads. The woads have 11 base attack, but 80 HP. And knights have 100 HP base attack. But things are moving very quickly here because woad raiders are so freaking fast. And Cello did get a conversion there. So Phosphoru needs to try and get more firepower behind this. And as always with him, it is just the numbers, right? He is not producing villagers. He puts all of his resources into a lot of army very quickly. Cello doesn't even have loom right now. Woad raiders would wreck his day. But he does research loom. And he's done a really nice job here. It's like the monks are always waiting, being safe. He's got a couple knights out here as well. But the risk, of course, is... Are you going to be able to match the amount of military that Phosphoru is making? And sure, Phosphoru's kind of had an awkward start. But he is really pumping out these woads because he just continues to buy food. And there he's building a siege workshop. Now, Cello... He's had his army over here. Now he's probably thinking, okay, I don't see the woads. Where could he be? What could be going on? He's going to move out. Immediately sees the woad raiders. The monks are enough to scare him off. He's going to look around a little bit, and he happens to run right into the siege workshop here. So, good awareness from him. Initially, it was a bit lucky to find this siege workshop here. I think he's just trying to move the woad raider and the scout out to other areas of the map and keep the knights and the monks at home. And actually is a really awkward spot for the opponent to push for him. So, like, it would be hard for him to defend from a siege push here if Phosphoru could get going. 21 vills for our red player. He's not planning on producing more. Here come the woad raiders. Woad raiders kill a villager just like that. And Cello. I mean, going for the eco approach, it's an interesting decision against Phosphoru because you already have the villager lead. I think I'm oversimplifying it. I think if you can afford to make knights and vills out of 2 TCs at the same time, do it. But so often you kind of have to choose. His eco's looking amazing, though. And this has honestly been, I think, like the perfect play against Phosphoru's strategy thus far. And Phosphoru's going to make rams here. So, like, okay. He's going to make rams to try and ETC. He's going to try and siege push. Now, sometimes Phosphoru will make a monastery, and he'll go for devotion, but you need food for the devotion tech, and it feels like he needs to do damage quickly here. He's got 19 woad raiders. 19 woad raiders will kill 7 knights, no problem. And he's hoping to run over here to this siege workshop. Cello almost has double the amount of eco. And Cello will see the siege workshop, and whoop! Here we go. This is where it gets fun. Now, pause real quick. I just want to remind you, this is what Phosphoru did about a month or 2 ago with the Turks, okay? So he was hopping in the rams and out of the rams, and he was using, like, they would insta-fire out of the rams, and it was just bam, 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 right? So this is an example of what he did when they added the ability to make garrisoning easier. Now, as we come back to the game, it's interesting to see him. Basically, you're just tasking your units to garrison in one ram, and they auto-distribute to the others. It's interesting to see him utilize this. And there are also some other changes recently that makes Rams faster if there's infantry inside. And then you have the faster Woad Raiders. But you see what happens is monks are trying to get conversions. And then he actually tasks them back into the Rams. Now, there were 2 conversions there for Cello, which is pretty nice. This is Celt Siege we're talking about. And yet again there, Monk goes for a conversion. He hops into the Rams. He hops out of the Rams. And he has taken out the TC there from Cello. And that is Cello's gold. Cello needs that gold to make more knights. But remember, if Cello defends once, he likely wins the game. There's a lot of blue here on the screen still. There's more knights in queue out of this stable. And there's another stable below it. And Cello is holding on. It'd be an awkward time to be a villager right now. But he's done the right thing. He's held on. He's got knights. Monks can get more conversions. Whoop! Back into the Rams. Whoop! Right out of the Rams. So shout out to Chris Berman if you know him. That's the only thing I can think of when I say that. And man, capture rate is even bugging here. But Cello has 35 vills. Phosphoru still has 21. And he is officially, Cello has anyways, officially defended from this attack. And if you know Phosphoru, you know the game is over. So, that's what he's trying right now. This is the first time that Phosphoru has played against Khmer with this Celt strat, at least for as far as what I could see. At least on this particular day, okay? So, let's just say that. Maybe it happened before. So, he's probably like, that's an interesting approach. And it actually is a really good approach. Like, I think everyone should be saluting right now, or YouTube comments. But respect to Cello. Cello chose a perfect approach to defend from that. Knight Monk seems really strong against that strat. And that Khmer pick, as well as his gameplay, was perfect. Well, usually what happens, guys, is it's like Phosphoru. Usually it's like someone faces up against Phosphoru, and then they change their strategy. That's what a lot of my videos have been. Well, they played each other the next game, and it was the same Civ matchup. So check this out. Okay, so here's the very next game. So it's cool that now Phosphoru's had that experience, and now he's thinking, okay, what can I do differently against him this time, right? And Cello, of course, has just won the game with that strategy and figures there's no way, you know, I'm going to pick something else now. Khmer makes perfect sense and is going to try the same thing. And you know, the beauty of this Khmer strategy that Cello's going for is that you kind of have 2 solid options. You can go for if like Phosphoru, for whatever reason, he's not going to do it, of course, but let's say he wanted to just play instant town centers and just drop TCs. Well, the Khmer can beat you to the town centers because they're in Castle Age faster, right? Let's say that Phosphoru was, you know, going to go for something. It wasn't Woad Raiders, but maybe he's going to go for the siege push, right? And only siege. Well, then the knights are going to work anyways, right? Like, this strategy from Cello is really good. And nice save there. And so he's going to stick with it, right? Now, I had conversations with Phosphoru recently. Actually, after some games we had played. And then I think I had mentioned this in my cast of him last week where he was Bengalis against the Slavs. Like, man, these games are like, I remember like yesterday. But you guys are like, man, I got to do homework for this perspective. But basically... he has a way, you know, he shifts his thinking a little bit when he feels as though someone's going to have a counter to him and they're sitting back and waiting for him, right? Because so often Phosphoru excels with like the sitting back waiting. Someone comes aggressive and then his strategy mops that up and then pushes over to their base. So he's going to change it up. Now, you're going to look at this build with me here as we speed up. And you're going to kind of be like, what do you mean? Right? Because you're going to see very similar things here. But both players just pushing in their deer right now. I think this is an extra pack of deer that Cello has found. That's the fun thing is I played Phosphoru earlier today, right? I was Malians, he was Celts. He tried basically the same crap that we just saw against me. And I just find it interesting how the additional deer on the map are being utilized at this point. Only in Phosphoru games, of course, but like, look, he's looking for more. It's just so interesting. You just don't see that any other time. So, same build. Onto stone. We'll slow it down, of course, once we get to that critical point. And it is going to be fast castle, into a stable, into adapting from Cello. And just look at his builds here. You need 800 food. You need 200 gold to hit the next stage. He also knows that he doesn't need loom because Phosphoru never attacks. So it's really smart thinking. He could be as greedy as can be, and then bam, clicks up to Castle Age immediately, and is just going to spend his time pushing in his freaking deer. There is no need to leave his base because Phosphoru is coming to his base, right? Well, anyways, here's Phosphoru. So Phosphoru maybe could have killed the Vil because there's no loom there. So here he comes. Okay, so he gets full scouting. He didn't have this the previous game. He gets full scouting of his opponent. And he knows his opponent is going to want to go knights. Now, knights obviously cost gold, right? And that gold is fairly exposed. And Phosphoru says, and we're going to slow it down now, well, let's make things interesting. And it's like, it's very fascinating to me. This gets me very excited. This makes me a happy person because Cello, based on what he knows, based on his experiences, is doing the right thing. He knows what's coming. And he knows how to handle it. He's even been a little bit greedier than the previous game. Squeezing in Horse Collar, taking his time. He does queue up Loom now. So anyways, he's going to chase this scout down because, Phosphoru's headed that way and has the weaker scout. And usually, a player is going to send their weaker scout back home, right? So, but Phosphoru's not going back to his base because if he goes back to his base, then Cello's going to notice that something doesn't look right there if all the villagers aren't there, right? So anyways, here comes Phosphoru. Now, this is extremely risky, right? This is extremely risky, but I love the energy. And he just goes, hey-oh, and is now dropping a castle on Cello's face. Did lose the scout over here, Phosphoru, and needs to practice his quick walls, which we don't see all the time. Remember, he's not a player who's at this rank necessarily because of his normal skills, like the quick walling and the eco balance. And so there's a castle. Now, what do I always say about castle drops, guys? First thing I say is don't listen to Doubt's advice. But the second and most important thing is you want the castle to immediately deny a gold or a stone that they're taking or be on their town center. If you can get both, it's awesome. The Phosphoru loses a Vil there. And now this castle is going to range this TC. I think it ranges the TC. Am I crazy? The knight is being attacked right now, of course. And yeah. Okay, so it kills the Vil. And I think ranges the TC. I might be crazy. But now it makes this whole game different, right? Woads are here immediately. Like, the production of the Woads are right on Cello's face now. And I love that adaptation. Now, where it gets wild is he doesn't have the castle at home to defend himself anymore. He actually doesn't have anything on wood. He literally has everything on food. On gold, which for him is food because he just buys it. So at least for the time being, that's the situation. Now, Cello is trying to find him and see what's going on. Actually, this is, I believe, his auto scout. But it's smart if you have a weak scout, put it on auto scout. Monk's hoping for conversions. And I think Phosphoru takes this fight because he thinks there's no way his opponent has gold, and it's worth it for him to lose a woad to kill that monk. But what he's going to realize when he runs over here with these woads, well, he doesn't realize it yet, but it's important for him to recognize that Cello actually found the gold. So Cello went 2 town centers, one more TC, has a total of 2, is producing Vils. It is 20 Vils for Phosphoru, only woads out of 1 castle. He's got 19 on gold. He's going to be able to buy a lot of food, but the price always gets worse and worse and worse and worse over time. So this has made things very interesting, and I love the fact that these are literally back-to-back games, right? Cello has an approach that he feels beats this Celt strat, and so far I'm impressed with it. Now, I think he saw some movement this way from the woads, and so he's always waiting. Now, even, Cello's doing a great job of always focusing on when that army's going to come in. But remember, he does still have to manage other things. Phosphoru literally doesn't look at his eco. The best thing you can do against Phosphoru is make him look back at his base. But it's hard to do that usually because he has a castle there, right? He just doesn't multitask. The strategy is not designed to be a multitasking strategy in the first place. TC is in range now. Fletching was researched. My apologies for not reminding you of that, but you guys have eyeballs, so you can see that. And You look away for a second, a couple of vills go down. That's just how it goes. Wood Raiders came in over here, which is why Cello didn't notice. That's actually how you want to do it if you're Phosphoru, by the way. You go for like the double whammy. You distract with one attack, and then you make a move with the other. 20 vills and 20 vills on gold for Phosphoru. This TC is eventually going to go down for Cello. And normally that would mean these farms get very inefficient. But with Khmer, you could still kind of sit here. But do you want to sit here? You notice Cello doesn't have many knights right now. He's going to rely on these monks. Knights would require more food eco. And he's instinctively producing vills out of his TCs all the time. Oh man, that could have been a monk killed for Phosphoru. And the Woad Rider who didn't kill the monk betrays them. Another good engagement for Cello. As again, Cello's strategy so far has looked good. And TC could go down soon, though, which opens up opportunities for Phosphoru. So, when I play Phosphoru, I get what I produce vills a little bit more than I know that he does because I've watched a million of his games. And then I actually stop. I think, like, right now, Cello's got 25 more vills. You don't need any more than that. The risk is, of course, if you don't have, like, knights in front. But your average game, as Phosphoru has the quick wall back here, this is where it will get interesting. He shifted over to wood now because he wants to make siege, and he's starting to make the rams now. But your average game, you're going to produce vills all the time. That is a player's instinct in this game. It's hard to turn that off. Now check this out, guys. This is the best part of the whole video, I think. Are you ready for this? Choo! Choo! Woad Raiders inside of the ram. And, bonk! And Ram's weak. Unfortunately, the Woad Raiders no longer have a ride, but boom, siege goes down, and then these things are pretty fast, so they can run away anyway. So that's hilarious to me. They are 0.03 speed faster than a knight, these Woad Raiders. Unless knights get husbandry, I think, but over here, Phosphoru can't take stone. Wasn't planning on it. He's off of gold. He's just chopping trees here. And so it is the same ram strategy we had in the first game now from Phosphoru. It just took him some time to get here. And Cello's done a good job. He takes out another ram. Phosphoru, though, does kill a couple villagers with that. He's killed 12 vills so far, and there's just a new ram already. Rewalled this. We'll have to still pay attention to this. I like how Cello's making him work. In and out of the ram. And here we have part 2. Part 2. Taxi part 2. Here we go. Choo choo. This is sick. You almost kill a ram every time you do that, and boom, you hop out. He hops out, so he's taking out the siege. The monks didn't have enough time to get conversion, so a lot of the monks go down, and those monks were about to get conversions, and he hops right back in. So now the monks' conversion situation resets, and then boom, right back in. And now Cello has to wait. He's like, when are they going to hop out? When are they going to hop out? Oh, God, there's so much in my base. Oh, there's 3 rams. Oh, no. Let's add some farms. Oh, no. Here we go. Here we go. What can he do? Here we go. He's adding a mangonel. It's 3 rams. Headed towards the TC in the very corner. The knight might get through over here. Phosphoru doesn't care. Here we go. Going for the siege workshop. Woad Raiders hop out. Monks are ready for conversions, but the Woads are back inside. It's non-stop. Out of the ram. Into the ram. Siege workshop down. Mangonel going for those rams. And mangonel now down. 2 of the rams are down now as well, though. And there's just 1 remaining here for Phosphoru, but he's got more behind this. And this is absolute mayhem. And it's just continuous because he doesn't focus on anything else. And he's got enough gold income and wood income, I guess, to somehow be able to afford this. Cello's got to be thinking, this is my strat. This is what won me the game. This was it. And there's a lot of pressure. There's just so much happening. You're reacting. And you are aware that you've lost quite a few villagers here. I think this is so funny. The freaking mining camp is about to go down. I mean, Phosphoru's lumber camp is actually open. Cello, I think this is the moment he's got to realize, like, okay, can I get through? But maybe he's waiting for the mining camp to go down and thinks that he might think that Phosphoru isn't paying attention there. It's unfortunate the knight just doesn't have enough vision to really show the rest of the situation there. But hey, monastery's going to go down. Houses are going to start going down. And Phosphoru, market prices are not getting any better for him. He bought 200 food for 313 gold. He's got gold to work with. Here, Phosphoru does re-wall. I think there's still a hole here. But the knight doesn't know about that. And there's no production of knights for Cello. It's all about monks for him. And, you know, the issue with the monks so far has been that he can't start conversions on the woads when they're inside the rams like this. This garrison technique is absolutely filthy. And it's just, with that new feature, right? It's so smooth. And here we go. Yep, right back into the rams. Monks will hope for conversions on any that are out there. And maybe there will be some out there, but okay. It continues to happen. The rams are now going for the TC. The monks are exposed. Oh, wait. Phosphoru thought conversions would come in. He's like, do you have anything to kill me right now? No, you don't? Okay, I'm out of the rams. Monks go for conversions again, but there's too many woads. The monks are going to go down. The TC's exposed. The villagers are next to woad raiders. And this town center, it's going to actually stay up, but at what cost? The funny thing here, guys, the thing that really just cracks me up, Phosphoru's lost so much over here. Like, he's lost so much. He's lost like 4 or 5 vills over there. He's at 25 pop. Cello's at 23. He's barely ahead in population after killing 50 vills. But he has Cello exactly where he wants him. And it could be Cello playing on a little bit out of frustration at this point. Could also just be, it's hard to read the situation because these games are not standard types of games. But in Cello, you're repairing a town center. And you're not going to have any more villagers left. And he just calls it, taps out of the game. And Phosphoru's adjustment worked. Now, I think there were some keys here before we, you know, sign off here. I really want to break this down because I think we got to be analytical about it. And like, I think the forward castle was a brilliant idea. But I don't actually know if the forward castle is necessarily the ticket. I think like the chaos that it brought was good. I think Cello really just fell out of love with the knights for whatever reason because of the chaos. And I think knights and monks still could have worked. He made a lot more knights in that first game. And as I think back to moments earlier in this game, maybe around here, I talked about how, and when you have a 25 villager lead, maybe you should stay put. I honestly feel as though if you just straight up just stop producing vills, do everything else the same, repair this or whatever, maybe make a couple extra farms. Just spend all that food, all that gold on monks and knights. Maybe you hold in that situation. Easier said than done, of course, but I really like the adjustment from Phosphoru, who said, all right, I know what you did against me. I know what you're expecting me to do. I'm going to place the forward castle and make this chaotic. And it's just kind of the fun thing about casting this guy. Now, I didn't even realize Cello was on gold out here. That was pretty smart as well, to be honest. But yeah, obviously wasn't enough at this point. And obviously Phosphoru did have some problems protecting himself at home when he didn't have the castle there too. So it was good from Cello all around, I think, in both these games. Good job from him to prime pressure this. Wasn't able to hold. But yeah, as always, guys, if you enjoyed the content, please leave a like on the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I kind of losing track of all the games, all the different strats as Phosphoru guys trying, but I do enjoy to cast them and bring them to you. I think it can get, like, the thing about players like Phosphoru is after a while, it could be like, okay, we've seen this game 1,000 times, and, you know, the hype and the interest can wear off after a certain point. I know, like, for me at this point, I played enough games where he's, you know, going, I guess, Bengali unique unit, where I'm just like, okay, I've faced this before, and as a player, it doesn't have that thrill. But what the cool thing is he's switching it up all the time. And like, this is very new. And there's like, what, maybe 10, 12 civilizations he plays. And I mean, certainly love to see how everyone else playing against him. And as long as it doesn't get boring for me, as long as there's still spice to it all, I'll keep bringing you more from this guy every once in a while. So keep an eye on the channel. Obviously, we're going to have uploads every day, as we always have. And thank you guys for watching. Here's just a quick glance at the eco stats for this game. I realized I didn't show you the eco stats for the previous game, and I suck. I'm sorry about that. And if you're curious on the speed, there's this. I find the eco 8 PM really interesting for a player who barely moves his villagers. I guess all that stuff happens really quickly in early game, but obviously very speedy control there with the units. Just goes up to, what was the max amount of villagers here? Is it 21, right? Did he ever make another one? 22, excuse me, because I think he lost one. So yeah, 22 total villagers against 72 total villagers. But of course, the point of bringing in vills is to then bring in resources to make army. And if all of your villagers and all your armies dying, then it doesn't pay off. Just crazy, though, that there can be a 50 villager created discrepancy at a pro level and that the player with that many more vills would lose. Frustrating one for Cello. Sorry, bro. But a fun video nonetheless. See you guys.